Hello, welcome back to my channel. How are you doing? Are you excited for the new update? I can't wait to visit the Flower Feather and Masters of the Nightwind tribes. They are already my favorite anyway, mostly because I really like both Chask and Auroran. So yeah, I've been saving up and I feel it will be time to just pull. Well, for me at least, but there's another great news, and that's that I'm finally getting around my research on the Natlan source material that I believe the developers used, and that means that today, for the first time, I will be talking about some aspects or one aspect of the Natlan lore, particularly one entity or group of entities that we are by now all more or less familiar with, at least those of us who got to Natlan, and that's the Wayob. But first, for those who might have stumbled across this by accident and are wondering, okay, what's this? A quick introduction. I am an archaeologist and Genshin player. I do deep dive videos behind real life historical references in Genshin, as well as a bit of theorizing on the side, because you know, sometimes some of those references can turn out really useful to try and guess what the developers might have in mind. So if you think you might like Genshin and history, follow me, give me a like, give me a comment. You can also follow me on Wayob, and someday I'm working on having an active Instagram account also, but we're still not there. So for now, it's just here and Wayob. You'll find the links in the description as well. But back to the Wayobs. So upon entering in Natlan, we learned that the Wayobs are entities who protect the 6 tribes of Natlan, and they reside in the Night Kingdom, that dimension which was created by the Lord of the Night, or okay, take a deep breath. This is hard to pronounce. Yohualtekutin. I'm sorry, I have to read it. That's the angel, the Seelie, that we saw in the domain that we explored in the last version, so in version 5.1, when we stopped Capitano and Auroran's plan. We talked with her, and she revealed that yeah, I think she's a she, right? So she created the Night Kingdom under Nova, the Shade of Death Sorter, to basically to replace the net of ley lines that was destroyed when the Primordial One battled with the dragons. So it acts as sort of a substitute to sustain Natlan, and the Wayobs are live in this kingdom. Other than that, we know by exploration mainly that the Wayobs can also manifest on Teyvat's surface in the form of rather unknowing enemies that have the quite bothersome ability to deplete your character's burst and use them as a shield that you then have to break. Yeah, so they can be, I wouldn't say they're dangerous, but they can be hostile, and you'll see why I'm underlying this in a minute. But did you know that Wayob were almost as important even in actual Central American civilizations? So the Y, or Wayob in the plural form, were believed to be a group of spirits, a very powerful one in fact, that were feared all across Central America. And the reason why they were feared was that they were believed to cause every kind of disease or bad thing. Some of them were even said to suck out your soul at night. So yeah, not the friendliest bunch around. So you might ask yourselves, okay, why did Genshin chose them as a reference? So I will try to eventually answer this question, but first of all, let's have a look at all the common points that the real-life Wayob have with the Genshin Wayob. So, before we begin, sorry about the little costume change, but I had to stop recording midway because something came up and had to resume on a different day. I hope it's not the Maya Wayob, sensing we're talking about them and spreading misfortune or anything. I'm sure it isn't, but yeah, anyway, I'm not done talking about them, so back to the common points. The first is that the Maya Wayob were believed to reside into something called the Xibalba. Yeah, I hope my pronunciation is right, but it probably isn't. And the Xibalba was the Maya realm of the dead, believed to be located just under the world's surface. The Wayob there and everything really was ruled over by the two main death gods. The Maya had a host of death gods. And what's even more interesting is that some of those death gods can also appear as Wayob. So they are represented with the typical symbol for the Wayob, which is this one. And so, yeah, we have a definite link in Maya religion between Wayob and death. And another interesting thing is that whenever Wayob manifested in Maya belief system, they could only manifest at night. So, yeah, it ties in with the Natlan concept of a night kingdom, which is located maybe below the surface, I don't know. It seemed to be an underground space. Looks like an underground space. Also a dream space. We'll talk some more about that. And we know that Natlan's dead go there because we actually talked with Vikama's friend there. And yeah, so they really tied in with the Maya mythology here. So as for the second common point, just as Genshin Wayob are each tied to their own tribe, the Maya Wayob, at least some of them, are also believed to be tied to specific places. And that's because, well, sometimes it's easy. They're just described in the description as being the Y of this or that place. And sometimes archaeologists have discovered that some Wayob only appear represented on artifacts or wall painting and so on in one specific place, and they don't appear elsewhere. So they really seem to be sort of a residing spirit of a town or a religious site and so on that was probably supposed to protect that site. So another point that the Genshin Wayob and the Maya Wayob kind of share is that sometimes Maya Wayob were believed, some of them at least, to be also associated with a specific dynasty. So not one ruler, but a dynasty as a whole that ruled one place. This latter belief has transferred into modern day belief systems amongst the natives of Mexico, especially in a region called Chiapas that has very much preserved its original culture. And so depending on the group, some groups believe that all humans have a link with a specific Y at birth, and they may or may not discover this bond as they progress in life. And some other groups instead believe that only some people have this particular link with Y, and they gain some very awesome and also sometimes very creepy powers from that. So they are called Nawal, and they are believed to, of course, cause every kind of illness and to bring misfortune on someone if they want to, but also they can allegedly see in the night and see things that others can't see. A bit like I get the feeling that the masters of the night wind will be able to do so, at least Auron can. Or even sometimes they are believed to shapeshift into animal form. And some of those animal forms we are getting pretty familiar with, because, for example, we have the jaguar, yes, Shilonen, and bat. Other forms include birds such as the vultures, or hawks, or sometimes even foxes can be some of the animal form that they can take, but especially jaguars, because the jaguar is associated in Maya mythology with the night and the underworld, so it's pretty fitting for someone who has a link with a Y. And this, if you ask me, ties in nicely with, well, both the night soul state that Natlan characters have, and also the ancient name thing, because, yeah, originally the Wayob weren't, as I said, weren't associated with one specific person, but rather with a dynasty. And I kind of get the feeling that Genshin has kind of took this, and instead of having real dynasties, they rather created this concept that I find really cool of ancient names being passed down generations, and this be determined by the Wayob. So now that we've gone through all the similarities that Genshin Wayob share with real-life Wayobs, I'm going to try and answer the question: why did Genshin choose to draw inspiration from something that was essentially thought to bring bad things and turn them into good things, essentially, because Wayob protect the people of Natlan in the game, right? Well, in my opinion, this has to do with what I was saying earlier about the belief systems in Central America, because you see, there are no completely positive forces in Central American religions, at least ancient ones. And that's probably because, well, it's a part of the world that stayed very aware of the fact that, well, essentially gods represent natural phenomena or forces that were difficult for humans to deal with. I mean, if the sea decides to suddenly rise up or the volcano decides to erupt, there is very little you can do even today as a human to stop that. So you better give it a name and start talking with it in the hope to, like, convince them not to hurt you, rather than just stay there powerless, because you're powerless anyway. And what I found out is that in Central America, they really always stayed aware of the fact that there are still dangerous forces. So even the good gods are pretty dangerous, pretty spooky. And they require things like human sacrifice to to keep the world going and so on. So if you're going to take inspiration from that part of the world, well, you have to integrate this aspect also. And Genshin already had something that could act as a mean to shift all the negative attributes of the Maya gods, the Aztec gods, and absorb them, because we do have some very malignant force that Natlan knows very well, better than the rest of Tibet, in fact, and that's the abyss. It's the abyss that causes disruption. It's the abyss that brings diseases. We saw people getting infected by it. We saw people succumb to its power even years after the initial onset, let's say. So I think that really what Genshin did is to take this material from the Maya religion and shift all the negative attributes to the abyss that was already there. And that's why they could use this concept of something that lives between the living and the dead, that is a protective force, but also sometimes a creepy force, and so on, without integrating its more negative aspects. But at the end of the day, this is just my personal opinion, so if you happen to think differently, just let me know. Let's discuss this. And in fact, there's still much we don't know about the Wayob. I really hope they give us some more information in the next update. So for today, I'm going to leave you with a couple more trivia about the Night Kingdom and the Wayob and so on. The first one is actually about the word Y, plural Wayob. You might have seen this already, because I've seen it cited on the Genshin wiki and elsewhere. But the word Y is thought to have to do with the act of dreaming, because in many modern dialects derived from the Maya tongue, the same root Y has always something to do with either dreams or sleep. So we're again in this idea that sleep, dream, and death are all kind of the same thing. And finally, one last thing about our little angel friend here with the absolutely tongue-twisting name that I'm not going to try and pronounce again. So this name is actually Nahuatl, and it translates literally to Lord of the Night. And the Lords of the Night were a group of 9 gods in Aztec religion that were taught to rule each or one of the 9 layers of the Aztec underworld. Finally, I am also going to leave in the description a list of all the works that I used for this video. Some of them are directly available. You'll find the link and will get redirected directly to the articles. Some of them are articles that are available on platforms that require you to sign in to have access. So so you can sign in, of course, or I can provide the article to you via Discord, because I downloaded them. If you like, just be aware that they are pretty specific words, so if you're not familiar already with a bit of scientific archaeological language, these might be a bit hard for you, but you might give it a try anyway. And that's really all for today. Let's wait for the next update together. And in the meantime, I will try and do some more research on new topics to bring more videos to you all. Goodbye!